I wasn't done. Not yet. After having them evicted, I bought the rundown motel they were forced to move into. Not under my name, of course. I had a shell company handle that. I installed hidden cameras in the hallways, even one right outside their room, disguised as a smoke detector. Watching them scramble every morning, fighting over stale vending machine pastries, felt like justice served cold. Then I got creative. I controlled their utilities from a central panel on my phone. Sometimes I'd cut the heat during a snowstorm, or shut off water right after they soaped their bodies. The manager always blamed maintenance issues. Every month, I raised the rent just enough to push them deeper into desperation, but not enough for authorities to take notice. Still, they tried to fight back. Robert got a job at a small grocery store cleaning bathrooms and stocking shelves. I found out the manager's name, sent him an anonymous envelope with Robert's mugshot. Fabricated, of course. Said he was dangerous. The old man was fired by the end of the week. Patricia tried to work as a night cleaner in a motel. I paid the owner twice her salary to tell her she wasn't a good fit. Every lead they followed? Gone. Every opportunity? Poisoned before it bloomed. But the sweetest part? The fake friends. I was the child they never wanted, but kept around to have someone to punish. My name is Nathan Cole, and I'm the result of an accident my parents never forgave me for being born from. From the moment I could walk, I learned to tiptoe. Not to avoid creaking floors, but to avoid fists. My father, Robert, was a man who thought children were burdens unless they brought in income. My mother, Patricia, treated love like a currency, only spent on people who could offer something in return. I was broke in every sense, so she gave me nothing. I remember a night when I was 7.
You spilled juice on the carpet? That was your dinner.
She slapped the plate off the table before I could even say sorry. The spaghetti splattered against the wall. I remember picking pieces off the floor and eating them in secret later. Other nights, they locked me in the basement for talking too much or for crying when I was sick. My only companions were mice and damp concrete. They didn't let me use the bathroom. School was no escape. I wore the same worn clothes for weeks, and when the teacher asked about the bruises, my mother said I fell downstairs a lot. No one pressed further. At 10, I was forced to get a job helping at my dad's auto shop. I didn't get paid. My lunch was leftovers from his crew, sometimes just crusts and grease-stained napkins. If I ever asked why I didn't get pocket money like other kids, my father would chuck a wrench at the wall near my head. At 13, I was beaten so badly for mouthing off that I had to stay home from school for a week. I remember lying in bed, back swollen and raw, and thinking, if I stay here, I'll die. That same week, things got worse. One afternoon, I came home from school and found my shelf empty. The only book I loved, The Time Traveler's Wish, was gone. So was the worn jacket my kind teacher Ms. Riley had given me last winter. I asked where they were, and my mom just smirked. Sold them. You don't deserve anything. Waste of space. That night, after I cried too loudly in bed, my father grabbed me by the arm and dragged me outside. You want to act like a dog, you can sleep like one. He locked me in the rusted kennel our old pit bull used to stay in, during a thunderstorm. I sat there in wet socks, shivering against the metal, no blanket, no food, just lightning and fear. The next morning, I dried off, got dressed, and tried to focus on school. My teacher gave us a take-home science project that counted for half our grade. I worked all weekend, cutting cardboard, drawing diagrams with borrowed markers. I was proud. I showed it to my mom. She took a lighter and burned it in front of me. You think you'll ever be more than trash? Dream on. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, they threw a party. Booze, laughter, smoke. They made me serve drinks like some butler, and their drunk friends mocked me, called me names, tugged my ear, one even joked about buying me off them. How much for the skinny mutt? He laughed. My parents laughed too. That moment never left me, so I ran. It was 2 a.m., a garbage bag of clothes over my shoulder. I crept out the back door and didn't look back. I had $32, stolen from Dad's wallet the night before. I lived on the streets of St. Louis for months, slept behind restaurants, bus stations, bathed in gas station sinks, ate expired food from bins. But every night, I reminded myself, I will never go back. They'll never get to hurt me again. I got a dishwashing job under the table. The owner didn't ask questions. I read textbooks people left behind at bus stops, got a GED, spent my nights learning code on public library computers. At 19, I launched an app that helped small businesses manage delivery logistics. I sold it 2 years later for $6 million. I cried in the lawyer's office, not from joy, but from disbelief. I had made it. I bought a penthouse, traveled, built a tech company. By 32, I was a millionaire 30 times over. But no matter what I built, the child they threw away still lived inside me. Last year, my secretary buzzed into my office.
Nathan, there's a call. Says she's your mother.
I hadn't heard that word in 20 years. My stomach turned. I took the call.
Nathan, it's Patty. We saw you on TV. Your father and I, well, we're so proud of you. We were hoping maybe we could reconnect.
Reconnect?
We all make mistakes. We just want to see you. We're not asking for anything.
That was a lie. 2 weeks later, I got another call. This time, from my father. Listen, your mother needs surgery. Hospital bills are stacking up. You've got more money than you need. Time to do your part. You mean your part? Don't be petty. Blood is blood. They thought my success made me soft. They didn't know that success had only sharpened the edges of my pain. But I wasn't going to frame them or hurt them physically. That would have been too merciful. No, I was going to destroy their lives legally and make sure they knew I could help at any time, but never would. First, I bought the mortgage on their home. Quietly, through a shell corporation. They'd missed payments, so I initiated foreclosure. They fought it. They lost. When they were evicted, I made sure the local news was there. Elderly couple loses home to unforgiving lender. I was the lender. Then, I had their car towed. Same trick. I bought their debt and called it in. They were stranded. A neighbor filmed Patricia screaming at the tow truck driver. It went viral. Next, I contacted every hospital in the tri-state area. Set up anonymous donation blocks for their names. Any charity account flagged with Patricia or Robert Cole was automatically denied or purged. They couldn't even get help from strangers. I made sure they were blacklisted from credit cards by alerting the fraud departments about untrustworthy activity tied to their names. Their credit dropped to dust. They applied for public housing. I had an anonymous tip sent to the review board alleging they had undisclosed income. Application denied. They had nowhere to go. I wasn't done. Not yet. After having them evicted, I bought the rundown motel they were forced to move into. Not under my name, of course. I had a shell company handle that. I installed hidden cameras in the hallways, even one right outside their room, disguised as a smoke detector. Watching them scramble every morning, fighting over stale vending machine pastries, felt like justice served cold. Then I got creative. I controlled their utilities from a central panel on my phone. Sometimes I'd cut the heat during a snowstorm, or shut off water right after they soaked their bodies. The manager always blamed maintenance issues. Every month, I raised the rent just enough to push them deeper into desperation, but not enough for authorities to take notice. Still, they tried to fight back. Robert got a job at a small grocery store cleaning bathrooms and stocking shelves. I found out the manager's name, sent him an anonymous envelope with Robert's mugshot. Fabricated, of course. Said he was dangerous. The old man was fired by the end of the week. Patricia tried to work as a night cleaner in a motel. I paid the owner twice her salary to tell her she wasn't a good fit. Every lead they followed? Gone. Every opportunity? Poisoned before it bloomed. But the sweetest part? The fake friends. I created 3 social media profiles. Nice-looking middle-aged folks, friendly, godly, caring. They messaged Patricia offering support groups and jobs, told her they'd pray for her, said they'd help with a place to stay. She believed it, clung to it like a lifeline. For 2 months, I let the fantasy live. Then the profiles stopped replying. 2 weeks later, one of the fake profiles posted a photo. An elegant dinner party, wine glasses raised, everyone mid-laugh. The caption read, "Helping the helpless is hilarious, especially when they beg like dogs." I knew Patricia saw it. She hadn't logged back in since. My parents are still alive, still suffering. Every time they see my name on a billboard or magazine cover, I hope it stings. Not because I want them dead. No, death would be a release. I want them to live long. Long enough to realize that the child they threw away became the man who made sure they'd never know peace again. Thanks for watching. I blinked. I can't. I'm disabled. Don't give me that. Out, now. Before I could explain further, he yanked open the door, undid my seatbelt, and tried to drag me out like I was a sack of rice. My legs tangled on the doorframe. I screamed. He thought I was resisting. He slammed me to the ground. My back hit the asphalt. My wheelchair was still folded in the back seat. Malik came out of the store screaming, "Dad, he can't move. What are you doing?" Halverton shoved him away with one arm. Then it got worse. He radioed in backup, claimed I was combative, said I had a concealed weapon, even though I didn't have anything but a water bottle and a parking placard. They zip-tied me, face down, on burning asphalt, in front of my child. They didn't see me as a man. Not the wheels, not the skin, not the name. To them, I was a problem in motion, a threat with a tan and titanium. But I'm going to tell you exactly how I turned humiliation into reckoning. How one mistake from a badge-wearing bully ripped open a system, and how my family made sure he never forgot what he did to me. It started on a Thursday. Hot day. Georgia sun baking every inch of my forehead through the windshield. I was parked outside a convenience store, waiting on my son Malik. 12 years old, hungry for tacos. I had my music on low, a jazz station. The car was off, keys on my lap. I hadn't moved an inch. But then the cruiser pulled up behind me. Lights on, siren off. That quiet kind of harassment. I didn't panic. This wasn't my first encounter. I just kept my hands visible. The officer stepped out. Stocky, white. Name tag read, R. Halverton. Already scowling like I owed him a debt. License and registration. I'm reaching for it, officer. Just so you know, I'm paralyzed from the waist down. Been that way since... Out of the car. I blinked. I can't. I'm disabled. Don't give me that. Out, now. Before I could explain further, he yanked open the door, undid my seatbelt, and tried to drag me out like I was a sack of rice. My legs tangled on the doorframe. I screamed. He thought I was resisting. He slammed me to the ground. My back hit the asphalt. My wheelchair was still folded in the back seat. Malik came out of the store screaming, "Dad, he can't move. What are you doing?" Halverton shoved him away with one arm. Then it got worse. He radioed in backup, claimed I was combative, said I had a concealed weapon, even though I didn't have anything but a water bottle and a parking placard. They zip-tied me, face down, on burning asphalt, in front of my child. I was released 3 hours later. No charges filed. They said it was a miscommunication. But bruises don't miscommunicate. Neither do tears from a 12-year-old boy watching his father be treated like roadkill. They gave me a clipboard, a cold apology, and suggested I file a complaint. They didn't know who I was. See, I wasn't just some man in a chair. I was a man with family. And my family didn't forget, especially not my daughter, Amara, civil rights attorney, sharp as a guillotine, and my brother, Judge Lennox Pierce, who just so happened to preside over cases in Fulton County's Internal Misconduct Division. The moment they saw the body cam footage, Amara's hands shook. Lennox's jaw clenched. We weren't going to file a complaint. We were going to make history.
Unlawful use of force, violation of ADA protocol, endangerment of a minor, false arrest, malicious conduct, excessive force on a disabled citizen.
Amara drafted it like a sniper setting up a shot. She looped in the ACLU, NAACP, Disabled Veterans of Georgia, media outlets, influencers. Halverton's name started trending before the subpoena even hit his mailbox. You know what poetic justice feels like? It feels like rolling into a courtroom and watching the same cop who slammed you to the pavement try to button his collar straight in front of a black judge. Your brother. Halverton looked confused, a little pale. He recognized me instantly, but he didn't know Lennox. Yet, let it be known that any attempts to deny federal disability rights will be treated with the full weight of the law. He didn't smile. He didn't wink. He just let the gavel drop like thunder. The courtroom was packed. Reporters, advocates, law students, veterans, wheelchair users in the front row. Halverton's defense tried to twist it. They said he was concerned for his safety, that my movements were suspicious, that the officer had reasonable fear. Amara stood. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't dramatize. She simply rolled the body cam footage. There I was, calm, cooperative, hands in plain sight, clearly saying, "I'm paralyzed, I can't move." And there he was, yanking, dragging, ignoring, pinning, zip-tying. Then she showed Malik, sobbing, shoved away like he was debris. Amara turned to the jury.
My father fought to walk again for 2 years. He uses a wheelchair because his spine was shattered in a construction collapse, ironically building a new police station. And this officer treated him like he didn't deserve breath, because he saw a black man and a parked car and made a decision. Not a mistake, a decision.
Halverton tried to plead stress, tried to cry. His lawyer said he'd faced personal trauma. But nobody was buying it. Not when Malik testified. Not when a bystander video went viral, showing the exact moment my body hit the pavement and my son screamed. Not when it came out that Halverton had 3 prior complaints for excessive force, 2 involving black teens, 1 involving a deaf man he pepper sprayed for ignoring commands. All cleared, all buried. But not this time. The ruling was unanimous. Liability for all charges. $2.3 million in damages. Termination from the force. Revocation of state peace officer certification. He was barred from working in law enforcement in any state, not even as mall security. His pension? Seized under federal civil rights penalty statutes. Amara made sure of it. I got emails from parents, veterans, disabled folks, strangers. Thank you for not staying silent. My daughter's in a chair. Your story gave her hope. We watched the hearing. My son cried. You're his hero now. You'd think losing his badge, his pension, and his name would be enough. It wasn't. Not for a man like Halverton, the kind who feeds on control like it's oxygen, who doesn't understand what it means when the air runs out. He thought the world would move on, but I didn't let it. See, I don't believe in revenge that ends with a gavel. I believe in a reckoning that echoes. Amara wasn't done either. She partnered with a civil rights documentary team to turn the footage, trial, and aftermath into a short film called Still Standing. It premiered at the Atlanta Black Film Festival and went viral again when the clip of Malik testifying hit TikTok. Over 3 million views. Under the comments, "This is the America they try to hide." That cop's face when the judge said, "Your brother." Priceless. The man couldn't walk, but he made the world move. Netflix offered a licensing deal. Amara made sure half the proceeds went toward free legal aid for disabled victims of police violence. Halverton's name was listed in the credits under former officer, proven guilty. Meanwhile, my brother Lennox quietly made a call to the state's POST council. He suggested Halverton's case be included in future ethics training. He didn't just become a cautionary tale. He became the textbook example. A year later, I got a call from a man named Rodney. He ran a private security firm in Savannah. Said Halverton applied using a fake name and falsified badge history. But Rodney's teenage daughter had seen Still Standing in her civics class and recognized him. They called me, asked if I wanted to press charges for identity fraud. I didn't hesitate. We took him back to court. This time, he had a court-appointed attorney and a faded dress shirt that looked like it hadn't seen starch in a decade. The judge didn't even need deliberation. 6 months of jail time. $5,000 fine. Registered in the state misconduct database for life. But that's not the part that stuck with me. No, what stuck with me was what happened 2 weeks into his sentence. A local journalist interviewed inmates about accountability and rehabilitation. She asked Halverton if he felt remorse. You know what he said? "They set me up. They ruined my life. I was just doing my job. The journalist forwarded me the raw footage. I watched it once. Then I called Amara.
Your Honor, given the defendant's repeated defiance of responsibility and his attempts to manipulate employers and falsify identification, we are requesting the court impose a permanent public record stamp, unfit for security, enforcement, or state-sanctioned service in any capacity.
The judge granted it. Now every time Halverton applies for anything remotely involving public trust, a school crossing guard, even a bus driver, the system pulls his record. Stamped, unfit. But karma doesn't always knock once. A few months later, a viral video started circulating. A middle-aged man in a diner off Highway 278, being thrown out by staff for yelling slurs at a young black waitress in a wheelchair. The man? Halverton. A bystander filmed the whole thing. It wasn't just embarrassment this time. It was national. News picked it up within the hour. Hashtags blew up again. Still standing. Wheelchair justice. Karma served hot. His wife got tired of him being in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons and filed for divorce. She won and left with their son. Just a few days later, Halverton was attacked by a group of kids who broke into his house. They beat him badly, spray-painted threats all over his living room, and told him they'd be back if he ever acted racist again. Now he lives in constant fear. I heard rumors he's planning to flee the state. Malik is now 13. He walks into class with his head high. Students recognize him from the film. He wrote a school essay titled, "The Day My Dad Couldn't Stand, but Still Fought Back." His teacher cried reading it. They asked me to come speak at his school. I did, and I brought my chair with pride. Thanks for watching.
He turned to her and, without warning, shoved her. Hard. She hit the floor. Her hat fell off. I screamed, "What is wrong with you?" Grandma, on her knees, looked up at him. Her eyes burned like I'd never seen before.
I curse you.
Really? You gonna throw salt at me, old woman?
Your empire will crumble. Your joy will rot. Your bloodline will wither. From today onward, all you build will turn to ash.
He laughed, and left. Called me a drama queen. That afternoon, he fired me by text. The job was our only income. I cried for days. But Grandma? She stayed oddly serene. Just repeated that he'd regret ever hurting her child and grandchild. Weeks passed. Then we heard things. His wife, Annalise, young, beautiful, a former model, was found dead in her sleep. Aneurysm, sudden, shocking. People whispered. Then his youngest daughter choked on a grape during a gala and died before the paramedics arrived. Then his son drowned in a pool, and his oldest daughter was in a car crash. Fatal. 3 kids, gone. In a matter of 6 months. His stock prices tanked. Clients dropped him. Videos of his rituals leaked. Someone recorded one and posted it on TikTok. He became a meme. I Am Corporate was dubbed over videos of burning trash cans. My name is Sandra, and if there's one thing I've learned in this life, it's never underestimate a grandmother with chemo rage and spiritual connections. I was raised by 2 of the most resilient women I've ever known, my mother, Teresa, and my grandmother, Agnes. Dad bailed before I turned 5, but those women, they built me. Agnes had worked for years as a seamstress and part-time librarian. Teresa took night shifts at a diner and cleaned houses during the day. Between them, they made sure I had books, clothes, braces for my teeth, and even violin lessons I was terrible at. They were my village. Agnes used to say,
We're not rich, baby, but we're not poor either. We got each other. That's gold.
But when Grandma got cancer, everything changed. She couldn't work anymore. Her hair fell out, her body shrank, and some days she was too weak to get out of bed. Mom picked up more shifts, and I worked part-time while finishing school. Eventually, I graduated with a marketing degree and landed a dream job at Vexler Dynamics, a rising fintech firm. At first, everything seemed perfect. Friendly coworkers, trendy offices, free lattes, and even weekly yoga. Then Randolph Vexler, the founder and CEO, returned from a year-long business expansion trip in Dubai, and hell arrived with him. At first, we only heard stories. That he was intense, detail-obsessed, slightly paranoid. But nothing prepared me for the real thing. The day he walked into the office, silence fell like someone hit the mute button on life. People stopped laughing, stopped smiling, and the air became heavy with tension. He started with small humiliations.
Let's see. Mark, you submitted a sick note for migraines. Cute. Sandra, yeast infection? That's bold. Should we pass the ointment around?
I wanted the floor to open up and swallow me. But that was just his warm-up. He fired Layla, a sweet receptionist, for showing up 2 minutes late after her bus broke down.
Time is money, Layla. I don't pay for you to arrive on your own schedule. Do you think Google lets people walk in at 9:02? Pack your things. You're done.
She burst into tears. No one dared to help her. Then came the trackers.
From now on, you'll all wear company-provided wrist monitors. They'll track your steps, breaks, and restroom time. If you leave for lunch without approval, you'll get a mark. Too many marks? Termination.
And we complied, like prisoners. But the worst for me was the dogs. One Friday, just as I was about to leave for the hospital to check on Grandma's chemo session, he summoned me into his office.
Sandra, my poodles, Ricky and Picasso, need a walk. Take them to the dog spa on 5th and don't be late. They get snappy.
Sir, I really need to. My grandma's at the hospital. She's doing chemo and...
Do I look like a kennel? Do your job or resign.
I took the damn dogs because I needed the paycheck. Still, I kept my head down, swallowed the disrespect, smiled through the psychological evaluations he made us take, where he graded our mental fitness like a twisted school teacher.
You're a C-, Sandra. You're soft, emotional, not CEO material. Work on that.
One Tuesday, my mom collapsed from another seizure. I rushed her to the hospital, called Randolph from the ER, breathless and crying. I can't make it today, Mr. Vexler. My mom, she collapsed. I'm at St. Francis.
Oh, boo-hoo. That sounds like a you problem. Be here by 2 p.m. or don't bother showing up tomorrow.
I didn't make it. I stayed with my mom. I thought maybe, just maybe, he'd understand. He didn't. The next morning, he came to my house.
Is this where you hide when you're being a lazy little parasite?
I was stunned. He stormed past me into the living room like he owned the place. Grandma was on the couch, frail and silent, wearing one of her knitted hats. She had terminal cancer, no hair, no strength. But still, she sat up when he started yelling.
This girl's a liar. She's a leech. I feed her and she bites. One missed day and suddenly she's Florence Nightingale?
Leave my granddaughter alone. She's the only one holding this house together.
He turned to her and without warning, shoved her. Hard. She hit the floor. Her hat fell off. I screamed, "What is wrong with you?" Grandma, on her knees, looked up at him. Her eyes burned like I'd never seen before.
I curse you.
Really? You gonna throw salt at me, old woman?
Your empire will crumble. Your joy will rot. Your bloodline will wither. From today onward, all you build will turn to ash.
He laughed, and left. Called me a drama queen. That afternoon, he fired me by text. The job was our only income. I cried for days. But Grandma? She stayed oddly serene. Just repeated that he'd regret ever hurting her child and grandchild. Weeks passed. Then we heard things. His wife, Annalise, young, beautiful, a former model, was found dead in her sleep. Aneurysm, sudden, shocking. People whispered. Then his youngest daughter choked on a grape during a gala and died before the paramedics arrived. Then his son drowned in a pool, and his oldest daughter was in a car crash. Fatal. 3 kids, gone. In a matter of 6 months. His stock prices tanked. Clients dropped him. Videos of his rituals leaked. Someone recorded one and posted it on TikTok. He became a meme. I Am Corporate was dubbed over videos of burning trash cans. He was sued for workplace violations. The bathroom cams, real, the trackers, illegal, the psychological grades, used as evidence in court. His company was blacklisted. He came looking for me. But we had moved, far away. Grandma died shortly after her curse, peacefully. And before she passed, she said,
Sweetheart, he thought I was weak. He thought cancer meant I had nothing left. But I had you, and that's power.
A year passed. Then I got a new job, another boss, another tech company. This one was different. His name was Hal. He wore purple Crocs, had one eye that stared too hard and the other that looked like it was trying to escape. Every sentence started with a quote from a movie that definitely wasn't relevant, and he was obsessed with bananas.
Sandra, you ever think about how bananas are just like people? Peel them, and they're all the same.
Right. At first, I thought he was harmless. A weirdo, sure, but not evil. Then came the screaming. One intern spilled coffee. Hal fired her on the spot, then forced her to walk his parrot around the block. Yes, parrot. He made us call him Sensei, installed bells under our desks that rang if we slouched. Forced us to eat only yellow foods on Sunshine Mondays.
It brightens the soul. Eat the yolk. Be the yolk.
One day, I caught him sniffing my keyboard. Another time, he had us reenact The Lion King in the conference room to build team spirit. He fired Carl because Carl yawned during a team chant.
That was a lazy yawn, Carl. Get out of my pride rock.
But I stayed. Why? Because I wasn't scared anymore. If I could survive Randolph Wexler, I could survive anything. One night, Hal invited us to his house for a banana bonanza mixer. Only 2 people showed up. The next morning, both quit and sent identical texts. He sleeps in a nest, an actual nest. I didn't quit. I became his assistant. Because, honestly, the crazy I knew was safer than the evil I'd escaped. But one afternoon, I walked into his office and saw a photo. Randolph, Hall together, college roommates. It hit me like a cold wave. That's the twist. I didn't just go from one terrible boss to another. I went from the cursed one to the one who inherited the curse. Because Hal's company started failing too. His birds flew away, literally. His house caught fire from a banana flambe incident. And his prized collection of signed Crocs, stolen by raccoons? Don't ask. One day, he looked at me with real fear.
Do you know a woman named Agnes? Bald, had cancer, kind of scary?
That was my grandmother.
Oh, banana balls.
So yeah, maybe curses are real. Or maybe karma wears wigs and crochets in the afterlife. Either way, Randolph now lives in a cabin in Idaho, alone. Hal? He runs a smoothie stand out of a van called Liquid Sunshine and gives away free hugs. As for me, I'm starting my own business, where people are treated like people. No rituals, no trackers, just mutual respect. But I still keep a banana on my desk. You know, as a reminder. Anyway, thanks for listening to my little revenge tale. And remember, if your boss is evil, if your grandma is bald and wise and full of fire, maybe don't test her patience. Like and subscribe for more crazy stories. Thanks for watching.
Accident? Funny how you white folks always have accidents when it comes to respecting black men. You intentionally stepped on me.
Honestly, for a second, I thought I'd misheard him. What did being white have to do with me accidentally stepping on him? I wanted to argue or just say something, but he started talking again.
You think you're better than everyone else? Walking around here like you belong? Like you aren't just another junkie hiding in the midst of decent people?
Junkie? What the hell was he talking about? Where did that come from? I don't do drugs. I live here. I work here. I have friends here. I do not appreciate you comparing me to a junkie. I'm a responsible lady.
Prove it. Let's see you try to prove your responsibility. I'd like to search your bag and house. I have a strong feeling that you're hoarding drugs.
Before I could say a word, he yanked my bag, searched it, and emptied it onto the floor. Then he ordered me to pick everything up and loudly apologize while on my knees. If you'd asked me 2 months back if I was scared about the cops in this area, I'd have said I wasn't. I had lived in this neighborhood for years. I wasn't blind to the stories and the quiet warnings about how some cops treated people around here. I had seen the way they looked at the people in the white community, how they spoke to them, how they wielded their power like a hammer, ready to strike at the first sign of resistance. But I never thought I'd be on the receiving end of it. Not until that day. It was just supposed to be a quick trip to the mall. grab a few groceries, maybe stop by the bookstore if I had time. I wasn't in a rush, just strolling, minding my business, thinking about what I'd make for dinner that night. And then, accidentally, I stepped on someone. But unfortunately, it wasn't just anyone. It was a freaking cop. The moment my foot barely brushed his boot, I felt a jolt of dread spike through my chest. I started to apologize immediately, but before I could even get the words out, his hand clamped around my wrist like I was a criminal.
You've got some nerve stepping on a uniformed man.
I froze in fear. His grip was tight, uncomfortably so. He was truly in his uniform, but it wasn't the uniform that scared me. It was his eyes, his cold, sharp, and sucked eyes, making me feel so scared. At that moment, I wished to just escape from him. "I'm so sorry, sir. I wasn't looking where I was going. I would never repeat it."
Sorry doesn't cut it, girl. You stepped on a cop and that's a crime.
People were watching as he roughly pulled me closer. I could feel their eyes on us, some stopping mid-step, others glancing from the corners of their eyes before quickly looking away. But no one said anything. No one stepped in. They never did, so it wasn't new. I just expected some humanity that didn't exist. It was an accident, I swear. I sincerely apologize. It will never repeat itself.
Accident? Funny how you white folks always have accidents when it comes to respecting black men. You intentionally stepped on me.
Honestly, for a second, I thought I'd misheard him. What did being white have to do with me accidentally stepping on him? I wanted to argue or just say something, but he started talking again.
You think you're better than everyone else? Walking around here like you belong? Like you aren't just another junkie hiding in the midst of decent people?
Junkie? What the hell was he talking about? Where did that come from? I don't do drugs. I live here. I work here. I have friends here. I do not appreciate you comparing me to a junkie. I'm a responsible lady.
Prove it. Let's see you try to prove your responsibility. I'd like to search your bag and house. I have a strong feeling that you're hoarding drugs.
Before I could say a word, he yanked my bag, searched it, and emptied it onto the floor. Then he ordered me to pick everything up and loudly apologize while on my knees. "You have no right to do that. Do you even have a warrant? Why would you call me a drug addict when we're just meeting for the first time today? And accidentally, for that matter."
Listen to me, young woman. You better show me your place, or I'm going to take you to the station and give you a reason to be in jail.
I felt so afraid. It wasn't normal and it wasn't right. I knew I should have pushed more and stood my ground, but that was impossible. The way he was looking at me was as if he was waiting for me to push back, like he was waiting for an excuse to have something strong against me. I knew better than to argue, so I agreed to show him my place. He pushed me into his car. I'd hoped it would just be to see the building and leave, but he had other plans. When we finally reached the building, he demanded to follow me into my apartment. I didn't want to, but because I was still trying to evade trouble, I allowed him in. Once he entered, he started looking and moving around. He went to my bookshelves, my small kitchen, my bedroom, everywhere. He walked through my living room like he owned the place. I kept quiet, watching him do everything he wanted. Finally, after what seemed like forever, he stopped.
No drugs, huh? That's strange. Y'all white kids are nothing but junkies.
I don't think you should associate that with my race. I know quite a lot of black junkies too.
I will ignore you only because you're clean. Kindly mind yourself from now, else I won't hesitate to arrest you next time.
I didn't say anything until he finally left my house. That was only when I felt relieved. I thought it had ended. Unfortunately, it hadn't. He turned out to be a creep. When it started, I brushed it off as being just paranoia. But it didn't go away. Every time I stepped outside, every time I walked to work, every time I unlocked my apartment door, the feeling of being watched overwhelmed me. When I left for work in the morning, there were footsteps behind me. If I looked back, I wouldn't find anyone. Inside my own apartment, I felt it the most. While I cooked dinner, I would feel someone's eyes on me. But if I checked, there'd be no one there. When I took a shower, I would feel someone watching me. I could hear movement sometimes. It was so scary, but I couldn't tell my friends because I didn't have anything to confirm. I didn't want to be told that I was hallucinating because I knew I wasn't. At night, while in my bedroom, I swore I could hear something. I kept trying to tell myself I was overreacting, but I knew I wasn't. I just needed a confirmation that I wasn't imagining things. One night, I received my confirmation. I was in my living room having dinner when my door was pushed open and the least person I expected to see walked in. It was the cop from last time. The same one who had accused me of being a junkie and searched my apartment without a warrant. Only now, he wasn't wearing his uniform. He reeked of alcohol as he staggered into my apartment like he had every right to be there. I was so scared. "What the hell? Why are you in my house? Get out!" He didn't listen. He started walking even closer to me.
I've been watching you, you know?
"You need to leave. Now, get out of my house."
Why would I leave when I finally have you all to myself? I don't have to sneak around.
I grabbed my fork out of fear. "You come one step closer, and I swear to God, I will stab you." I brandished the fork like a weapon. I could see that he was scared. Eventually, when he saw that I was going to do it, he backed off, but he promised to be back. I was awake throughout the night. The next morning, I ran to the police station as fast as my legs could carry me. But I met the shock of my life when I saw the same cop there. I didn't know that was the station he worked at.
Well, look who it is. The white junkie came to pay me a visit.
I thought the other black officers would stop him, but they didn't seem to be on my side. Of course, they would be with him.
Man, you really got this one rattled, huh? Have you seen her naked yet? I doubt you haven't.
They laughed. I was so close to crying. "You shouldn't be doing this. He broke into my apartment. He's been stalking me, and I'm shocked that you all know about it yet did nothing."
Whoa, calm down, sweetheart. You should be lucky to have him stalking you. We have enough black women, but he chose you.
They laughed again, and all I wanted was to see them get punished.
You should go home, miss. You don't want to make false accusations against a good cop like him. No one will listen to you.
He's not a good cop. None of you are.
Now, that's a heavy accusation. And without proof? I don't know. Sounds like someone's just looking for attention.
They laughed again. I burst out crying as I ran away from there. I heard the cop promising to see me tonight, but I didn't stop. Once I got home, I called one of my favorite friends. Devin was a black man, but he was a good person. I'd known him for so long, and I knew he believed in people getting justice. When he arrived, I told him everything, from the very beginning at the mall. I'd never seen Devin look so angry.
How dare him? That's so unprofessional. It's his job to protect you, not harass you. That's a very punishable offense, and he won't be escaping it. I'm calling my uncle.
Devin's uncle was the chief of police. The man was also a good man. I'd heard about different people getting justice through his help. While the phone rang, I prayed for the man to ask help me. He was the only one who could punish those bastards. When the man answered the call, Devin explained the situation. I was so happy when his uncle wanted to send officers immediately, but Devin stopped him.
Not yet. He needs to learn something first. I will teach him a lesson.
I asked Devin what the lesson was, and he told me his plan. I was sure that the cop would definitely come by because he said it back at the station. We got everything ready for our plan, just in case he came. Devin stayed the night. We waited. Deep down, I was really hoping he would come. I needed to deal with the issue and end it all. Fortunately, around midnight, the door was forced open again.
Well, you don't have a fork this time. I'll see what will save you.
He didn't see Devin at first, but when he did, it was too late. Devin lunged at him, punching him in the face and knocking him to the floor. The cop cried out in pain. He tried to fight back, but I grabbed a baseball bat and smashed it over his shoulder. As Devin pummeled his face with punches, I struck him mercilessly. When we were done, we forced him to sit up and tied his hands behind his back. Devin then grabbed his phone and called his uncle. Minutes later, sirens filled the air. Officers burst in, dragging the cop up. His lip was split, his face swollen. We didn't end it there. We took him to his station and I pointed at the other cops who mocked me. They were all arrested. The next day, his arrest was everywhere. News channels, papers, social media. At trial, the evidence was clear. The scratches on my door, Devin serving as a witness, the footage from the station where they mocked me. Devin's uncle made sure every detail was exposed. The cop got 5 years for stalking, harassment, and abuse of power. His accomplices got 3 for covering up his actions. Their badges were stripped. Their names were blacklisted. They weren't just fired. They were humiliated. I watched them without pity as they were led away in cuffs. Justice was served, but I still moved away 2 months later because I was traumatized. A few months later, while I was in a different state, Devin called me with some news. Rumors were circulating about what had happened to the cop in prison. From the moment he arrived, the whispers began.
That's the cop from the news. 5 years ain't long enough for what he did. We're gonna make sure he pays every day.
At first, he tried to act tough, walking with the same arrogance he once had in uniform. But behind those prison walls, there was no badge to protect him, only enemies. The inmates knew what he had done to countless white women. Some of them had even been locked up because of him. His nights were the worst. Sleep became impossible. Every creak, every whisper sent his heart racing. Someone scratched at his cell door at random hours, whispering his name just to mess with him. His nerves were shot, his body always tense, waiting for the next attack. Then came the messages. A note left on his bunk read, "Dead men don't need to eat." A carving on the wall said, "Payback's a bitch, ain't it?" One night, he woke up to find his mattress slashed. His clothes were stolen, forcing him to beg for spares. His food tray was knocked out of his hands at every meal, and if he dared to complain, it only got worse. Then came the beatings. One afternoon, he was cornered in the showers. A group of inmates blocked the exit, cracking their knuckles.
You like throwing your weight around, cop? Let's see how tough you are without a gun.
Blows rained down before he could even fight back. Fists, knees, elbows. By the time they were done, he was curled up on the cold tile, gasping for air, blood mixing with the water. The final blow came when an inmate set him up, falsely claiming that the cop had attacked and tried to kill him. As a result, his sentence was extended by 6 more years. Serves him right. Thanks for watching. Then the second officer, Jenkins, appeared. He walked solemnly to the car behind us, the one carrying my son's casket.
We need to check the casket. What? That's illegal. You can't. You a priest or a clown in a bathrobe? Stay out of it, Father. We decide what's legal and illegal. And let's be real. These people will use anything to move drugs, even dead bodies. Yeah, I mean, what are black folks good at? Sports and smuggling.
My mouth fell open. My heart felt like it stopped beating. My dead son, my beautiful, brave child, was now being accused of being a drug mule.
This is a violation of rights. This is a child's funeral. You can't desecrate a coffin. Maybe I should call ICE too. I'm sure at least a few of you are here illegally. Got that look. What do you say, Father? You even from this country?
They laughed, loud, cruel. Then Officer Jenkins actually walked to the hearse and placed his hand on the back door. He began to open it.
Let's see what little Elijah is really carrying, huh?
I screamed. I lunged out the car, tears burning my face. "Don't you touch my son!" Before I could reach him, someone else stepped out of the 4th car back. A tall man in a black suit, clean-cut, calm, deadly serious.
Officers, may I ask what crime you're investigating?
My name is Nadine Holloway. I'm a black single mother. I work as a receptionist at a pediatric clinic in downtown Louisville, and let me tell you, it ain't glamorous. I've had cops come in treating me like I'm just a clipboard holder, calling me sweetheart like I'm dumb. I moved to the US from St. Lucia when I was just 5. I worked hard, paid my taxes, followed the rules. Still, to some folks, I'm just another black woman in the wrong place at the wrong time. And yet, even with all the challenges, I made a life. My son Elijah was my miracle. A sweet, curious boy who loved Legos, mangoes, and dinosaurs. He fought hard when leukemia tried to steal him away. He went through chemo, lost his curls, kept smiling. But in the end, cancer won. And I was left with nothing but his teddy bear and memories of a laugh that could make even strangers smile. The day of his funeral was supposed to be a final goodbye, a moment of peace. But the world, specifically 2 officers with more ego than heart, had other plans. We were 10 cars in a slow, silent procession, white ribbons, headlights on. "Rest in power, Elijah," written across car windows. My sister Latrice drove while I sat beside her. Behind us was the hearse carrying my baby's tiny white casket. In the passenger seat sat Father Andre, a kind soul who baptized Elijah and never missed a hospital visit. Out of nowhere, police lights flashed behind us. Sirens pierced the quiet.
All vehicles pull over immediately. I repeat, pull over. This is a traffic violation.
We were stunned. Latrice's grip on the wheel tightened.
This can't be happening. It's a funeral.
We all stopped, slowly, like we were doing something wrong just by grieving. A tall, stocky cop strutted to our window, mirrored sunglasses on, hand on his belt like he was facing down a gang.
License and registration, now!
Sir, this is a funeral procession. My nephew.
Don't care who's dead. You people don't get special rules.
I looked at him, stunned. We're just taking my son to be buried.
Oh, you're the receptionist at that kitty clinic, right? Figures. You people act like you own the whole damn road the moment someone dies.
Then the second officer, Jenkins, appeared. He walked solemnly to the car behind us, the one carrying my son's casket.
We need to check the casket. What? That's illegal. You can't. You a priest or a clown in a bathrobe? Stay out of it, Father. We decide what's legal and illegal. And let's be real. These people will use anything to move drugs, even dead bodies. Yeah, I mean, what are black folks good at? Sports and smuggling.
My mouth fell open. My heart felt like it stopped beating. My dead son, my beautiful, brave child, was now being accused of being a drug mule.
This is a violation of rights. This is a child's funeral. You can't desecrate a coffin. Maybe I should call ICE too. I'm sure at least a few of you are here illegally. Got that look. What do you say, Father? You even from this country?
They laughed, loud, cruel. Then Officer Jenkins actually walked to the hearse and placed his hand on the back door. He began to open it.
Let's see what little Elijah is really carrying, huh?
I screamed. I lunged out the car, tears burning my face. Don't you touch my son! Before I could reach him, someone else stepped out of the fourth car back. A tall man in a black suit, clean-cut, calm, deadly serious.
Officers, may I ask what crime you're investigating? Back in the car, civilian. Deputy Chief Darnell Scott, Internal Affairs, Philadelphia Division, and also Elijah's uncle.
Their faces froze. Riley's lips twitched. Jenkins looked like someone had shot him.
I've been recording from the moment you pulled us over. You insulted a grieving mother, berated a priest, and threatened to search a child's casket. I suggest you stop talking. But we are doing our job.
Silence.
Nadine, I'm so sorry. This never should have happened.
I didn't even know Darnell had come. I hadn't seen him in years. But Elijah always called him Uncle D on FaceTime. The convoy moved on, after the officers stumbled into their cruisers and slithered off like cowards. But the damage was done. A few days later, Daniel called me again.
I've launched a full inquiry. Turns out this isn't their first misconduct. Jenkins and Riley have over 17 complaints filed. Most mysteriously disappeared from their records.
One of those complaints included another case, 3 years ago, where they pulled over a grieving Latino couple on their way to bury their stillborn baby. They mocked the couple, demanded a bribe, and delayed them until the cemetery closed. The family had to bury their child the next day in the rain. The case was quietly buried, but not anymore. He didn't stop there. Evidence surfaced. Body cam footage mysteriously deleted, traffic stops without probable cause, Riley getting kickbacks from a shady auto body shop, and Jenkins listed as a frequent visitor to a massage parlor under federal investigation.
There's enough here for internal trials and criminal charges. They'll be off the streets permanently.
I thought that was the end of it, but karma wasn't finished. A month later, they were arrested. Local media exploded with the news. In court, Riley tried to make a scene.
I was just doing my job. These people don't respect authority. You don't have authority. You abused it, and you abused the public's grief. You are a disgrace to your badge. 2 officers under fire for misconduct at a child's funeral are now behind bars. Public outcry has led to a wider investigation of systemic abuse.
I didn't go to court. I didn't need to. Their faces, Riley looking like a bloated raccoon, Jenkins with a black eye from being jumped in holding, said enough. I got letters, flowers, cards from strangers. Some police officers, white and black, visited me at the clinic. They apologized for their colleagues, said they were disgusted. One of them even brought donuts and said, "This doesn't fix anything, but maybe it makes a bad morning less bad." In prison, things weren't better for them. In fact, they were worse. Correction officers placed them in general population with inmates who'd seen the funeral video. Word got around fast. An inmate named Red threw Riley's food on the ground and said, "That's for Elijah." Another shoved Jenkins into a mop bucket and called him the casket cop. They were given the worst beds, next to the toilets. Their commissary got lost every other week. Even other correctional officers refused to speak to them. One inmate told a reporter later, "I did 10 years for robbery, and I still got more heart than those two." Riley had to be moved to protective custody after someone wrote "funeral clown" on his jumpsuit in permanent marker. Jenkins filed for psychiatric help after a mental breakdown. An inmate called Big Red apparently told Riley, "You picked the wrong kid's funeral to crash, punk." Even then, their families never came to visit. Wives filed for divorce. Kids refused to speak to them. I didn't celebrate. I just went to Elijah's grave with sunflowers and whispered, "They tried to shame us. Now look at them." The world can be cruel, especially when you're black, when you're poor, when you're just trying to bury your child in peace. But sometimes, just sometimes, justice shows up in plain clothes, sitting 3 cars back, watching. A month later, we held a balloon release at the park for Elijah. Red, yellow, blue, the colors of his favorite cartoon. Hundreds came. People I didn't even know hugged me, prayed with me. Some kids from Elijah's school drew pictures of dinosaurs and gave them to me. "So he can play with them in heaven," one girl said. And I knew my baby mattered. My baby changed something. Subscribe and thanks for watching. And hey, if you ever get stopped by Officer Riley, never mind, you won't. He's currently learning the hard way that even bullies can't outrun karma in a cell block.